Good morning. So let's discuss something about graphs, okay, which can be asked in a Viva also. Okay. So here in the first graph, what we see, this is plasma concentration versus time graph, right? So this one. Now here we see plasma concentration and time graph versus the different routes of administration. Okay, so here we see IV drug. Okay, when any drug is given by IV, what happens? The bioavailability is maximum, the plasma concentration becomes maximum, and gradually it decreases, right? Something like this. What happened in intramuscular? It sharply increases, the concentration increases, and then gradually it decreases, right? Now even in subcutaneous, there is a gradual but steady increase in the plasma concentration. It takes more time. Okay, so if you consider this, right, this is the maximum concentration, that is a Cmax. Okay, so this is the Tmax for IM, this is the Tmax for subcutaneous, and this is the Tmax for, right, oral. So we can see that T3 is more than T2 is more than T1, means the time taken to reach the maximum plasma concentration for different routes can be compared, right? And this is the just a basic graph to understand. Okay, so you can see there is no peak in the IV, because in the IV, as we give intravenously, so it will be at the maximum, and then it will get metabolized and the concentration decreases, right? Now here, now this is the log plasma versus time graph. Okay, this is time graph over here. What we see over here, what we know about IV bolus and IV infusion. Okay, so IV bolus we give in a single shot. So what will happen? It will first has a maximum concentration, right, and it will decrease gradually. Now this is log plasma versus time graph. Okay, log plasma. Now another thing important, suppose this is the infusion starts over here, okay, and this is IV infusion. So what happens? It takes this type of graph, right, and it will reach the maximum concentration, that is the Cmax, at the time, that is the Tmax, and after reaching the maximum concentration, then it gradually decreases. So this is the graph for IV infusion. So this is the difference between IV infusion and IV bolus. Okay, if drawn graphically, this is how it looks. Okay, next. Now concentration of drug released versus time. In case of ointment and transdermal system, right, this is how it looks. Like what happens when we use any ointment, it will, the concentration of the plasma the concentration of the drug released, okay, and that is present in the local area, and then it will be gradually absorbed, right? In ointment, it happens very suddenly. You can see the peak rises very sudden, and there is decrease in the peak, decrease in the concentration very sudden. So suppose this is 100% of the ointment, so 50% of the ointment the drug is released very fast, and then gradually, but not gradual I'll say, but there is a sharp decline in the amount of drug released per unit time. Okay, so it is very important. This is ointment, and this is transdermal, like patches, right, transdermal system. Now you see, these are the patches, and the important thing is that it increases very very gradually. You see, okay, the peak is reached over here. This is the maximum, and then there is a gradual fall. The important question is, where are name some important drugs which are given via this route. Okay, so nitroglycerin is one. This nitroglycerin patch, fentanyl patch, nicotine patch, estradiol patch, okay, sertraline patch, and clonidine, hyoscine, and the important thing is where they are used, right? So hyoscine is used where? Hyoscine is used in motion sickness. Sertraline patch is used in, you can use in Parkinsonism also. Okay, so like this you should know most common use of each drug. Okay, now this is dose response curve. This is the dose response curve you can see, and it has got you can see over here, it has a typical graph, right? So this is a typical hyperbola. So if this is like this, this will make this hyperbola, right? So we are excluding the negative part, we are just seeing the positive one. Okay, so it is sharply up till it reaches the maximum, and then it will go via like this. Okay, so this is a dose response curve, normal. Now normal dose response curve, where it is the log of dose is taken. So this is the log dose response curve. Okay, this is the log dose response curve, and in the log dose response curve we will get, what will happen, we will get a sigmoid curve. So important thing is that where we get a hyperbola and where we get a sigmoid curve. Okay, so dose versus response and log dose versus response, these are important viva questions which can be asked कि इसमें क्या मिलता है और इसमें क्या मिलता है. तो here we get hyperbola, okay, and here we get sigmoid. Okay, so this is very important and you should know about this. Now some log dose versus response curve, you can see they all are sigmoid curves like this three, right? What is the important thing is that every of the A, B, C start at the same concentration. Okay, like the same amount is given, right? Now what happens, A will reach like this, okay, B will reach like this, and C will reach like this. Here two important terms you have to know. First is the potency and second is the efficacy. Now how will define it, right? So what is efficacy and what is potency? Very important question, and this is the first question which will be asked from general pharmacology. Apart from what is drug, defined drug, right? A defined receptor, okay. And if we'll go for like infectious disease, we can go for chemotherapy, we'll go defined antibiotic, defined diuretic. So these four important definitions are very very important. So this is drug, then defined receptor, okay, defined antibiotic, defined diuretic, and the other two will be defined potency and defined efficacy. So this 6 you should tip of the tongue, this definition. Okay, now what happens, you see over here at the, suppose B and C, right, they start at the same concentration, right? But you can see there is a difference in the height, that is the response. Okay, that is the right, and you can see over here that is that you can see like, right, so you can see over here that at the same concentration of A, B and C, what will happen? We are getting similar type of response, right? But we can see at very very low concentration, this is the log dose, so concentration. So at a very very low dose, A produces nearly same response, right? Nearly same response, okay, slightly different, a moderate one. You can see over B, it will give the same response but at a bit higher level, right? So that is B, and this is C, you can see less, right? So what is potency? Potency means they are showing the same response at a very very low dose, as a very very low dose. So if we'll do the potency, then A will be more than B, then more than C. Why? Because A is at a very low concentration and at a very low dose of the drug. At very low dose of the drug, you can see a very low dose of the drug, same response, nearly same response can be seen. Then after that there is B, okay, and then there is C. So that is the potency. What is efficacy? Efficacy is when we compare like two drugs. Like suppose we'll see the height. For efficacy we see the height, okay, and for potency we see how low the dose is, to produce the same response, okay. So efficacy we see the height, right? So in height, if we'll say that efficacy, we draw compare, then what will say? B will be more than A, will be more than C, because B, A and C, right? Because they are showing the same type of graph, but the efficiency, right, of a particular dose of the drug, we see that B is producing more effect, more response, right? So it is more efficacious, it has a more efficacy, okay. So this is important, like you have to understand potency and efficacy. You will be asked to draw a graph to compare between potency and efficacy, and this is a simple and very very easy graph to draw, okay. So just understand first, just remember this is a log dose because it is a sigmoid graph, okay. All right, now some drugs for IV infusion. Why the drugs are used for IV infusion? Because sometimes there are few parameters to understand. The first is due to short half-life. Now due to short half-life, it is given in IV infusion because if will be short acting, and it will be like acting very efficiently via IV infusion, not IV bolus, IV infusion. Slowly we have to give, right? We have seen the graph like this. We have seen a graph like this, right? Something like this, right? We have seen a graph like this. So this is the T max and C max, right? We have already seen. Now what happens that suppose any drug has got toxicity and given in IV bolus route, right? So we'll use these three drugs as a IV infusion way, right? To maintain the effect of the particular drug. Like in case of diabetes, in diabetes ketoacidosis also, in very high diabetes, like it has reached up to like more than 300 or more than 400, then we give insulin in a continuous pump, right? So IV infusion, we generally use a pump. Now in that pump it is something like this, right? It is generally pushed gradually. The parameters are set, and it will work, the machine will work on its own way, and via the pump I have used like insulin pump, very commonly used in hyperglycemic patients, right? Even I used noradrenaline in case of severe bradycardia. So these are very common. When you go to ICU, you'll see insulin pumps and NORAD pumps. We'll say that NORAD. Okay, NORAD pumps कहाँ है? तो NORAD pumps you can see very commonly in any ICU setup wherever you go. So I request you to go in the ICU and you see these drugs used as an IV infusion, right? So what are the other drugs? So sodium nitroprusside in any emergency care. In a hypertensive emergency, you can see sodium nitroprusside, right? And dopamine and dobutamine, these are inotropic drugs. You will see very commonly used as an like in a pump, right? But most commonly you'll see insulin as well as noradrenaline in a pump. Now you see there are other like phenoldopam, esmolol, oxytocin, ramifentanil, right? You can see these drugs also. Now important is that quinopristine and dalfopristine. Quinopristine and dalfopristine has been approved in used for vancomycin resistant Enterococcus faecium. Right? So this is important. And esmolol as an infusion pump is used in supraventricular tachycardia. So these are important. Okay, this is very important. When you'll see when you will be an intern, you will see IV infusion pumps. Okay, these are used. So in the internet you can search for IV infusion pump, right? And in my video on for like practical, and I have shown many photographs which are very important. So there also you can see the infusion pump I have shown, okay, which is very commonly used in the ICU setup. Now there are some drugs which are not given by IM route, and they will ask why they are not given by IM route. So first is the erratic absorption of any drug is there, because of that there is not used in IM route. So the example is all the benzodiazepine nearly are absorbed erratically when given by IM route, hence they are not used in IM route, right? Now most of the drugs which are not used are generally painful, okay. So there are a number of drugs which are given which are not given by IM route because they have very painful, okay. But few you have to remember, because apart from pain they are also given because they are also not given because they cause hematoma. For example, heparin is not given by IM route because it causes hematoma and it's painful when given by IM route, okay. Similarly, digoxin and phenytoin causes necrosis of the localized area as well as it is painful while given by IM route. Now one very important, like streptomycin, this antibiotic very commonly used. Now this antibiotic is used, it is painful while given by IM route, but it is used because it is used in a multiple regimen. For example, in TB and in many other places it is very commonly used. So you should know some drugs which are very painful while given by IM route, okay. These are typical Viva questions, right? Now apart from heparin has a very negligible oral bioavailability. So this is another Viva question. What are the drugs which have a negligible oral bioavailability? So first is the heparin, second is the aminoglycoside, and third is the tibocurarin, okay. So these are few of the Viva voice questions, okay. I have discussed most like commonly used drugs as well as graph also, okay. So just go through it once. I hope it will be useful for you in your exams.